TOMz.
Sibulise apha emakhaya kaloku nimkole ungqa phambili kweze science ne-technology apha eMzansi's #1 channel SABC 1 ke lona Mzansi for sure.
The one and only teenagers on a mission. Noma ke siyibiza nge-TOMz. Lona ke is the beautiful Bongi and mina nguSiya.
Nawo ke Siya sonke siyamthanda umculo nje.
Well, that's a given. But where are we going with this?
Kaloku Siya namhlanje ke sabe sijonge the one thing that makes this esifana nomculo exist. Now what exactly is that one thing?
Well, that one thing can only be sound. So nina lapha ekhaya sijoyineni ke namhlanje as we see how these simple vibrations work and how they actually play a big part of our lives.
Yonke loo nto ithetha ukuba we will be seeing people who are doing really cool things in the world of sound. Kwaye ke sabe sifunda kaloku really cool things about sound. Kwaye getting you guys some really sound tools that you can use in your daily life.
Sazo mna Nuru kanjani? I mean, I'm looking forward to showing you guys at home ukuthi kahle kahle abantu how do they do these weird and wonderful things in the world of music and sound.
I hope that you guys are excited about today's show as we are ngoba kaloku wena yazi ntoni ungTOMz wena ukholwa ngokubona. Then khawujonga namhlanje apha ku TOMz sabe simphakela mawat.
Let's get it.
Now ukona ukulindela apha ku teenagers on a mission. Intoni kanye isound kwaye isebenza njani? Sidibana ne-audiologist to find out how exactly sense of hearing works kwaye how to take care of it. Sidibana ne-sound engineer who is responsible for some of your favorite local songs. Kwaye we check out some awesome apps for your mobile. Get some inspirational words of advice from iindwendwe zethu zenkqubo yethu yanamhlanje. Nako isound oko bethu nani yaba khona trying to figure out uba isuka phi is as good as trying to find out uba ilight isuka phi.
Qiniseke ngempela, but mina into engifuna ukuyazi ne, since technology has no limits, how has it touched sound? Kodwa ke before singena kulokho, let's hit the streets sibone ukuthi Mzansi wazini.
Can you please name different types of drums for me?
Different types of drums. The one engiyaziyo yokuqala is the one made of a cow skin.
Yeah.
Secondly, ile sebenziswa ama-drum majorants.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I know.
You take a tin, and then you put a rubber.
Yeah.
Then that is a kind of drum. And others are made by cow skin.
Abasebenzisa ama-drum majorants. Then alena ya goat skin.
Mina uchami drumming yaziyo ile yenziwa nge-cow skin.
Yeah. What is sound?
A sound is something that you hear. Yeah, but when you are hearing something, it's a sound. It's something noise oyizwayo.
The sound is something that you hear.
What is noise-induced sound loss?
Noise, I don't know. Yo, angazi.
I-sound yona ingaku-affect like mawuyizwa kakhulu. Inga-affect ukuthi like ungagcina like after some certain years. Like ungagcina sowungazwa kahle. Yeah.
Ngaphandle kwamazwi ethu ke and the sounds of nature, umculo lona has been one of the big ways that sisebenzisa sound ngayo.
Since the beginning of time, the beat of the African drum gaga has kept our people moving.
Injalo kanye, not only that, but it's also been how ancient communities communicated with each other.
To this day, our people bashaya isigubhu waya baba. But have you ever asked yourself ukuthi kahle kahle isigubhu sona sibuyaphi?
Yonke ke yaqala with the beat of the drum. Yep, ninve kahle kanye, the drum is the oldest musical instrument known to men, said to date back all the way in 4000 BC in Egypt. Now quite simply, a drum can be described as a musical instrument with a membrane stretched over shell and struck, either directly with the player's hands or with a drumstick to produce sound. The membrane over the shell is known as the drum head or drum skin. The shape of a shell layer of a drum varies a lot, but the top of the instrument, where it is played from, is almost always a circular shape. The rest of the drum can be shaped in various ways. Masithatha umzekelo itimbalese with a cylindrical shape or ijembe with a more goblet shape. Materials used to make drums vary too. There are drums made of carved logs of wood, metals, and a variation of other materials too. Zonke as factors influence the sound you'll hear when the drum is actually struck. Talk about into as simple as a drum can be so complex.
Just like anything in life though, yonke into ibukeka ilula, but until you start looking into it, that's when it becomes complex and interesting.
Injalo kanye, and that is what TOMz is about. The complex and interesting, the fresh and different, the weird and the wonderful world of the science and tech world.
What I find interesting about sound is the fact that the drum is the oldest instrument, right? But benazi lapha emakhaya ukuthi kahle kahle sebenzisa ama-drums ukuthi silalele sizwe.
Touchdown north of Joburg sisaqhubeka ngemishini yethu bafethu niyazi ukuthi sikhuluma ngesound namhlanje. Wasevakashela an audiologist esichazisela kabanzi about ama hearing aids nokuthi kufanele sizinakekele kanjani to hear things properly. It's me and you in this mission right now. Let's get it. Hey Daniela, how are you doing?
Hi Katie, I'm fine, thanks, and you?
You good?
Good, thanks.
Welcome to TOMz. So to our viewers at home who don't know you, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Daniela Signer. I am an audiologist. I have my own private practice.
Okay, so tell us, what is audiology?
Audiology is basically the science and medicine of the sense of hearing.
And what does an audiologist do?
An audiologist would test a person's hearing to find out if they have a hearing loss, find out where that hearing loss is, so what's causing that hearing loss, and then treat it accordingly.
Okay, cool. So tell us about the sense of hearing. How does that work?
Basically, if I show you with this,
Yes.
okay, this is the ear, the part that you can see,
Yeah.
okay, and then the sound goes in there, all right? What happens is once the sound goes through the outer ear, it hits this eardrum.
Yes.
And it causes the eardrum to vibrate. Okay. Once the eardrum vibrates, it causes these little bones, the smallest bones in your body, to vibrate too.
Okay.
Okay. Which then hits the inner ear, which is your cochlea, which picks up that sound, turns it into electronic signals.
Okay.
Okay. And then basically is picked up by the nerve towards the brain so that you can interpret that sound.
So when you have a hearing problem, what could cause that?
Well, anything along this pathway could cause a hearing problem.
Okay.
So something quite common would be that you could just have a big block of wax stuck in the ear canal, and that can already cause a hearing loss. Another thing would be the middle part may be filled with fluid, and then it ends up filling up this middle ear part, which then also can create a hearing loss. But those two parts is normally treatable. So you can treat it, obviously you can take the wax out, or the child may need grommets to be able to take this fluid out the ear.
Okay.
Okay. Then you've got the inner ear, which is more your permanent hearing loss part.
Yeah.
If there's damage in there, basically there's no medication or surgery that can fix it.
Okay.
And then you look at alternate devices.
Okay.
So things like hearing aids.
Okay, so tell me about the pieces of technology that you use to diagnose and treat your patients with.
For the diagnostics, you'd use equipment, okay? Basically, you need your soundproof booth,
Yeah.
as well as your audiometer, which would be able to test different frequencies to find out which frequency or which pitch of sound you are able to hear and at what level. So you would first look in your ears, see if there's anything blocking. Then we check with this machine, we also do a pressure test to make sure that this middle ear part is working fine.
Okay.
Okay. And then the rest of the hearing test is all done in the booth with regards to the different frequencies.
Okay.
If there's something wrong, say with the middle ear, then we may send you to an ENT or an ear, nose and throat specialist.
Okay.
And he'll take the treatment further.
What does an ENT do?
An ENT is an ear, nose and throat specialist. They're basically the ear doctor. What they check with regards to the ear is that all the structural components of the ear are working properly. Also, if the person needs medication, they can prescribe medication. They may also do surgery on the ear to try and fix these little bones if they've moved in the wrong places. So the ENT looks more at the structure of the ear, okay? And my side, or the audiologist side, is more the function of the ear.
Okay.
So what's actually happening to the ear with regards to why you can or can't hear certain sounds.
Okay.
And that's when certain devices like hearing aids would come in from an audiologist perspective when we can't fix the hearing from a doctor perspective.
Okay.
With regards to the hearing aids, they're now sophisticated enough that they can pick up on the sounds around and the environment that you're in, and they automatically adjust and change their settings based on obviously what I've set for you.
If you have a problem with both ears, you wear on both ears.
Definitely.
Okay. So tell me about music. How does music affect your hearing?
Loud music generally causes what we call a noise-induced hearing loss. So it's more in the high frequencies or the high-pitched tones where you lose your hearing there. So what happens is that you'll find that, you know, you're hearing a lot of sound, everything seems to be fine, but when you go into those more busy, crowded environments like a restaurant or a pub or a bar, and you're struggling to hear the speech in that, that's probably because of that high-pitched loss.
Mzansi music and Mzansi people are always pushing the limits, finding new, fresh ways of doing things, always on a mission to change the world in their own little way.
Injalo kanye even make bethu ke sayobethwa umoya sayogabla amanzi. We celebrate such people while we break down the science and take off umculo esihanileyo.
So when lapha ekhaya ungayi indawo sokubona emva kwala.
Sidibane ne-sound engineer ke who's responsible for some of your favorite songs. Uyasibonela ke wena ke how sound is manipulated uba yenze umculo. Kwaye ke siyabuza uba yintoni kanye umculo kwaye siyiva njani i-sound. All this and more emveni kokuba sikhe sayothi rhabu amazi uzunga indawo. TOMz. Sibuyile ke bethu nani lonto ke ithatha into enye qha qoba uba kaloku lixesha kangqa phambili when it comes to science and tech edutainment.
It's your boy Sia and your girl Ubongisipho.
Njalo kaloku ungqa phambili kaloku wentoni wenkqubo apha eMzantsi. Teenagers on a mission bethu nani lena apha ku SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Sit right.
Namhlanje ke we are breaking apart the beat of the music when we look at what sound is and how we use it.
Now just when you thought you had music figured out, kuza abantu benani that just want to stir izinto up and mess up the rules.
And you want to rule breakers that actually change the world. It is their disregard for the conventional. They need to be different. There's new innovations and new ways of doing things.
From all about being different, finding new ways of
From the previous seasons, we have seen that many of you would like to be musicians. But again, stop for a second and ask yourself that because you are interested in music, does it not mean you can only become a musician?
Now, there are many other careers that are very important in the existence of Mtulo. Just like our next guest, you might not have heard him sing a rapper, but trust me when I say, Babetunan, you have heard his work. Check him out.
Right, we're still on our mission and running the streets of Joburg. Well, it's good to figure out Alex is a sound engineer, also about sound engineering. You, me, let's get it. Explaining the sound engineer, also about sound engineering. Well, if when I was good to the list, so TOMz. So we put them
Alexander.
Welcome to TOMz.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so again, what is sound engineering?
Sound engineering is like there's an idea.
Okay.
And the idea nayo siyithatha silete studio. That's part of sound engineering as well, the idea.
Okay.
Siyithatha sifake studio. From the studio, we work on it. Lase siyihluza ke siyibeka kahle to be something that can be heard by abantu ngaphandle.
Okay.
Yes.
So touch up on my voice now.
Sisi paintbrush lapho, we're just making it look nice. You must have it like something that's from the studio, something that is raw.
Okay, so again, how do you put a track together?
The first thing is that I listen to when as a person, this is the voice. Then from there, we try out something. So what we usually use is MIDI, the MIDI keyboard. Okay. That carries some sounds from drums to your keyboards to your pianos to your basses. Though we love to put a makatari some other times.
No still touch it up.
Everything you touch you up before you put me on a punch.
Okay.
The studio, that's the main use of the studio. Okay. Everything has to be touched up.
Okay, so DP.
Basically DP is your volume.
Okay.
Simply put is your volume, usually.
And the auto tune?
Auto tune auto-tune was meant to be.
Okay.
Yes. It is called.
Oh.
But then it has gone to a point where abantu abasebenza bayitwiste kakhulu, by-overuse, but it's not overuse.
Okay.
It's nice use. Somehow it's creativity.
Okay.
Bakhona nje pull it to certain limits.
And a loop?
A loop is when you actually you play the same thing again and again and again.
And reverb?
A reverb is when we actually assimilate. We assume that this person is in a bigger space.
Okay.
Because with music we need bigness sometimes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Nyabona Lana, these waves, these blocks, these squares, what is all of this?
The wave we born right now is represents your sound.
Okay.
This is your sound wave. Basically, it's sound when you're recording it up, there's a wave.
Okay.
Wave is a wave.
Okay.
So the more wave you have, the bigger this is a visualization your wave.
Okay.
Sibona kanje wave umsindo lo kahle kahle.
Okay.
So masiqala hash.
How does the voice and the instrument work together?
The voice and the instrument, they're supposed to go together. Whichever way ngoba zihamba zonke. Ingoma mayihlangene supposed to be vocals, supposed to be instrument yakho as well. But then there's got to be space between. There's got to be a balance between those two things. We didn't want to have vocals yakho ephezulu kakhulu, instrument yakho ephansi called. So
how do you make sure of that? You don't get the balance.
that's when we balance things now.
Okay.
When we come to the volume, this is our liner vocals at the top. So what happened is we just equalized our vocals because we didn't want too much of a bass. So we took down the bass.
Okay.
But we raised it up because our frequencies. Now we whatever you do in music, there's frequencies.
Okay. When we look at the sound engineering field or industry,
That's right.
does it have like a good future?
It does. It does have a serious future as long as we're still listening to music. Music shall always be made. There won't be a time when we stop listening to music. I guess when it's music shall stop. There is a future in there.
So ke namhlanje sisifumana in the world of sound and music production. Wake wahlala phansi ke nake wazibuza uba yintoni kanye kanye lo mculo kwaye kutheni sisoloko sijiva kulo mculo lo. Well, music is sound. Now sound is defined as vibrations that travel through the air and can be heard when they reach a person's ear. Sounds hectic, I know, but basically sound between is vibrations that we can hear. So when the sound waves or vibrations move through the air and enter your ear canal, they hit your eardrum, causing it to vibrate. Now gas vibrations from the eardrum pass through 3 connected bones in the middle ear. Then they pass through a fluid in the ear, causing the fluid to move. Now this motion then bends thousands of delicate hair-like cells, which convert the vibrations into nerve impulses. These are then carried to the brain via the auditory nerve. Then your brain does its magic, converting all of this into what we hear as a sound. So Kayonga, it all goes back to the beat of the drum, the eardrum that is.
Yonke Kalondo iyabonisa that one can achieve so much by thinking differently, and it is through thinking differently that the innovators are actually born.
Mzansi is truly filled with legendary, innovative people with amazing ideas.
Ijalo kaya not only ke kungcwadi zethu zemvelaphi but walking the streets too.
Abanye ke babukela i-TOMz nje wasikhuluma noBongisipho. If you're one of them, wangakhuluma nathi lapha kuma social media pages wethu. Sitshela ukuthi unicabangani futhi what you all about.
But for now, the Bedamas can sebethwa ngumoya kaloku usohabla. Kodwa then uzobuye kaloku because we'll see after this.
We go back in time because we get some useful music apps. Why get to find some cool advice from Inga Pepe zethu zalapha emqubeni namhlanje. Hlala uhlelekana ngoba thina siyabuya ngo
TOMz.
We are back and we're educating Mzansi one episode at a time. The one and only TOMz Racha on SABC 1, Mzansi for sure.
Now give it to Nani kaloku abubana siyayuwisa iroof sinyathele kaloku because namhlanje we are putting up in the weird and wonderful world of sound and music production.
We've seen a genius audiologist met up with a sound engineer, figured out what this music thing is all about. But akulokho kuphela siniphathele kona bafethu kusekuningi kakhulu.
Injalo kanye, now we should know that Mzansi comes from amaxesha anzima kakhulu where people weren't allowed to coexist. But through the game changers have always been those who defied the rules and went against the grain.
Through the trying times that Mzansi has been through, umculo usincede kakhulu to bridge gaps as well as fight injustices. No one can ever forget Mango Groove kaloku, the musical ensemble that formed in the early 1980s by John Leyden, Andy Craigs, as well as Aaron Big Voice Jackal Leroy. Now, though umculo wabo was not of a political nature, the group being umzekelo of how people of different races can actually live, work, kwaye badlale bonke. Just think back to the likes of My Black President by the late, great Brenda Fassie, as well as Asimbonanga by Johnny Clegg, and Bring Back Nelson Mandela by Brahu Masekela. Despite the consequences, Ngoma Ezi spoke of how the people needed their leader walking and living amongst them. Then there's the recent hits that surprisingly had mass appeal to all races. Mandoza's Galagata is the perfect example of this. Now, Ikwaito is a music genre that is typically associated with the Black Township life. Despite it being a Kwaito song, Ungalagata Lona had mass appeal to all races, showing the world that despite our differences, Mzansi is actually a united land.
Mzansi is constantly evolving and generating a brand new skilled and talented generation to carry the baton and continue with the previous generation left off.
If you are the future of Mzansi music, then this could come in handy.
So you're interested in making music, but with limited resources. How do you go about doing this? While singing Cheleni, don't be discouraged. The Pocket Band app is the app for you. That planner allows you to compose, record, arrange, and transform your ideas into complete songs, ready to be shared with others. Lab Planner is just what you need as an upcoming young musician. To make quality, well-balanced music, you need to be able to measure all the different sounds you'll be using. Not an easy thing to do if you're just using your phone, right? Unless you have Sound Meter app app which allows you to accurately measure the various sounds. How cool is that?
That you are all going crazy right now trying to find out how to get into a career that is jam-packed. Yes, let me use the production.
Say for instance you want to be a member of a musical band, or better yet, you actually want to make instruments. How do you go about doing such?
But it's alright, it's okay, don't you worry, because TOMz has got your back. So Gawena, you want to make musical instruments like guitars or maybe even violins? Now though there aren't any specific courses, you can be a luthier, but you need to know how to work with wood in order to become a luthier. So the best way to learn about wood is to do a carpentry type of course. Now you can either do this by doing an apprenticeship or learnership, okanye ke uyakwazi ukwenza a national certificate in engineering studies at levels N1, N2 and N3.
Ochwepheshe bethu ke sebekhulumile, so go out there, take the advice and go out there uyo-achieve ama-dreams wakho.
Injalo kanye njengaloku bethu mnandi nge-guests zethu zalamhlanje have done, let's go and get some words of advice from them just to give you more inspiration about uphume pha and do what you need to do.
Hi kids, if you want to be an audiologist, what you need to do is what would help you at school would be maybe science and biology, and maths they generally need for university, because you'd need to go to university and you'd have to get an honours degree in audiology.
So Ntwane Maka, if you want to do this, you go for it because it's something that's in you. But remember, everything you gotta do it with your passion. Music is something that you're supposed to like first. If you like music, it's easier to get to where Lalawe Akona is a sound engineer. There's so many opportunities. There's television, there's a media that covers a lot of things like recording, like what we're doing now.
Oh, yebo, yes, my first experience, my social sessions wethu ke namhlanje. Nasikhuluma nawe lapha ku Facebook na ku Twitter namhlanje siphethe ba.
Facebook kaloku sinade mkhonkozo uthi yo guys, your show is amazing. I was blown away. I really enjoy it. Sabulela Tebukho.
No, wesibili ke siphethe umlindo. So Lindo kuhle wakazuma. Yena ke ethi guys, I like your show today. You are killing it. Athi yena he's a dancer. Well, thank you so much for watching TOMz. Bonke bebefuna ufana nabo benze njani?
Facebook kaloku singu TOMz, ku Twitter TOMz_SABC_1, then of course kaloku ku Insta singo @TOMz_SABC1.
We've reached the end of the show already.
I know, right? Time just made me babile manel xesha.
Make sure that you join us again for another fresh and exciting episode of TOMz.
But in the meantime, feel free kaloku ukuqhagamishela nathi kumajelo ethu omnatha, even if it's just to say hello.
It is TOMz on Facebook at TOMz_SABC_1 on Twitter, and we are TOMz_SABC1 on Instagram.
Sanibona bethu next time. Goodbye.
Next time on TOMz, sifuna kabanzi about levers and linkages nokuthi sisebenza kanjani. We meet some heroes and see how different types of levers allow them ukwenza izinto ezimangalisayo. Check out some awesome apps for your mobile with your boy Caddy. Tune in to TOMz njalo ngomsombuluko nangolwesibili at 4 p.m. khona la ku SABC1 Mzansi for shizzle.